The Lexington Park Rotary Club presents Money Matters on Metrocast Channel 10, a program designed to aid in the quest for service above self to our local Southern Maryland community. Hello, and welcome to Money Matters, the show where we help make sense of all things financial. Money Matters is brought to you by the Lexington Park Rotary Club. I'm Ed Turbush, your host and chairman of the Financial Literacy Committee, focused on serving the community in a better understanding of financial literacy. Today our topic is preparedness for buying a home, whether it's your first home or your fifth home, and being educated in how that process works. Our local community expert is Steve Coombs. Steve is an area manager for Academy Mortgage, and Steve is active in the community and also a good friend. So Steve, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
I've been doing mortgage lending for a little over 11 years, and I've always lent here in Southern Maryland. I found a company that, an academy that is dedicated to sustainable home ownership. And education understands what that means. So that's kind of my passion, my why.
Okay, which is fantastic, since that's our topic is really in making sure folks that are interested in buying a home, obtaining a loan, are really educated in the process, and I think as early as possible, right? Correct.
Okay. That's the one thing that I see often is that people will go out and look for a house and find a house and get a contract.
Get excited.
And get excited.
Right.
And do all the fun stuff.
Yeah,
the mortgage is really not that fun.
Right.
However, they'll do that without getting prepared, not knowing where they're starting.
Right.
And so you really have to understand where you're starting from first, and then get prepared, know your credit score, know your debt-to-income ratio, get educated about the whole process. Things have changed in the last 5 or 6 years.
Before you jump in the car and drive around and see the new home, and the spouse is excited and the kids are excited, they're picking out their bedrooms and everything else.
You got it.
So what kind of things what specifically, I guess, what would you suggest people do in that process?
I would say, first of all, the first person you really should talk to is a mortgage lender. Not because I'm sitting here, but in all reality, you need to know 8 out of 10 credit people, 8 out of 10 people have credit reports that are inaccurate in some way. So really what people need to do is to understand where they're starting from now and get a good idea if there's any inaccuracies. We need to get rid of those up front because 25% of those inaccuracies are serious enough to deny them credit.
Wow, okay.
So their debt-to-income ratio, I would say that we need to understand what's going to go into that. They need to understand what their price point is. Okay. The first question I ask my customers is, what's your comfort zone? Because it's not what I can qualify them for, but it's what
they feel comfortable.
What they feel comfortable. What's going to work with their budget?
Right.
Because I don't go home with them and pay the bills.
That's right. And it's probably very common that people get excited, and then once they know what they could technically qualify for, then they kind of start stretching for that.
Indeed. Well, they understand then what they can qualify for. But I understand, and I keep them on track as far as what they told me their comfort zone was. Okay. So knowing what their credit is, knowing what we have to fix if we have to fix anything, because most people have to do something in some way, shape, or form. Most of them are minor, but some of them are major. And if we get to them in advance, then we can help resolve it. Okay. And so is there a suggested time frame? Or I guess it just depends on what their personal situation is. It depends. Some people are ready to go today, and they're better off than they think they are. Some people think they're better off than they really are. So we really just need to get them in advance and make sure that they're educated about the whole process. The biggest concern that we have is that people are buying without having the understanding of the responsibility they're taking on. Homeownership really is a privilege. Right. So we want to make sure that they understand all aspects. Even if they've bought 3 or 4 houses in the past, it's different now. Okay. So it's not necessarily harder, it's just different. And we kind of navigate the waters together.
So I know that, before the crisis, it was relatively easy to get through the underwriting process for a mortgage. Right. Then it seemed like it kind of tightened up quite a bit. For my own clients that I work with, I've seen that. And is it now starting to ease a little bit and get a little bit more reasonable in that process?
It is. Okay. It is. We still require you to prove who you are, what you have, where you've been.
You can't breathe on a mirror anymore?
No fog and mirror loans anymore.
Okay.
So you still have to prove your income and your assets and your credit worthiness. Okay. It's just that, in some way, shape, or form, many people forget that along the way, because when they bought the home in 2005, they didn't have to prove all that stuff. So it can be a little cumbersome. But we tell them up front, hey, look, we're going to ask for just about everything. But if we plan for that right now in advance, then by the time you go to get your loan, it's going to be a cakewalk.
Okay. Could you just quickly touch on, the value of having a loan officer versus, just kind of searching and shopping on rates?
Well, number one, I think a local loan officer, regardless of who it is, you really need to be able to look them in the eye. After settlement, if things didn't go right, I think that's important. Having someone who understands the local players involved, who understands who the better real estate agents are, and the title professionals and CPAs and financial advisors and things like that. It's actually great to build a team to understand that if you have someone who does your taxes and someone who manages your finances, we're a debt manager, really. That's kind of what we do. And they work together and they have a trusting relationship. Right. Right. Great. So, Steve, on behalf of the audience, I want to really thank you for your time today. Thank you. I applaud you for trying to help in the education process of the home buying experience. Any final thoughts or messages you want to leave with the audience? Well, I think it's a consistent one. Just get prepared, be prepared, know where you're starting first. Get a copy of your credit report annually. Make sure you understand that because there is there is identity theft and things like that are out there that we want to make sure that we keep a good eye on. Great. Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you. And want to thank you, our audience, for joining us today on Money Matters on Metrocast Channel 10. I'm your host, Ed Turbush. Have a great day. The Lexington Park Rotary Club is proud to present this program in the quest for service above self to our local Southern Maryland community. The mission of Rotary is to provide service to others, promote integrity, and advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through its fellowship of business, professional, and community leaders. If you're interested in learning more about your local Rotary Club, please contact us at 301-373-2780 or visit our website at www.rotarylp.org.